wisdom.
माननीय राज्यपाल श्री आरिफ मोहम्मद खान जी, केंद्र सरकार में मंत्री श्री मुरलीधरन जी, श्री राजीव चंद्रशेखर जी, मुख्य कार्यनिर्वाहक सचिव नीति आयोग श्री अमिताभ कांत जी, श्री के.जी. अल्फोंस, इस कार्यक्रम का आयोजन करता और बुक का संकलन करने वाले सभी आर्टिकल्स को सबको जोड़ने वाले श्रीमान अल्फोंस, माननीय संसद सदस्य, इस सभागृह में आज समावेश में आए हुए सभी contributors to this book and brothers and sisters. I am happy to be here with you all today to launch the book Accelerating India, 7 years of Modi government. I am told this book is a collection of 25 essays covering 25 sectors of Indian governance and has contributions from 28 eminent authors. My compliments to the editor, Member of Parliament Sri K.J. Alphonse, the authors and the publishers for bringing out this publication. Brothers and sisters, India is entering its 75th year of independence in a few days. It is a momentous occasion that brings to our mind the struggle and sacrifice with which our forefathers won our freedom from the yoke of colonial rule. With an unflinching determination, a revolutionary zeal, and unwavering commitment to a syncretism of our civilization and modern values, these noble souls laid the foundation for the rebirth of a great nation through our Constitution. Our Constitution promises each individual and community a right to dignified life, while also protecting them from discrimination. It is a pledge we have given to ourselves at the beginning of the Republic to be upheld at all times and to be delivered to each individual. As we celebrate our Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, it is also time to evaluate our progress and always analyze how well we have kept this promise to the common man. This is very, very important. Introspection, analyzation, review of the promise made, purpose of the registration or the reform, and the achievement so far, the shortcomings, if any, the best practices in different parts of the country and the globe, and the way forward. That is the purpose of this book. I would like to take this people-centric approach to see where we are as a nation and our journey ahead. After all, a nation is not just a set of boundaries, symbols, and institutions. A nation is its people. My dear brothers and sisters, the last 7 years of the Modi government have been marked by a number of initiatives, number of reforms that are enumerated and elaborated quite well in this volume. The volume consists of analyzation of various initiatives and also the reforms undertaken. The focus has been on making the existing system function more effectively through a process of constant reflection and reform. The government also has been thinking outside the box and is seeking to transform governance to meet the challenges of the 21st century. The challenges have been many. We are a huge country. We are facing the most complex of these for the last year and a half because of the pandemic. It had an unprecedented disruption in our lives. It has been a health challenge of such massive proportion we have not faced in the last 100 years. And also it has had its fallout on the economy, on the life and livelihood opportunities of the people. The government have responded to the challenge with great alacrity by ramping up production of drugs, vaccines, essential supply of masks, sanitizers, and critical healthcare infrastructure. Formulation of the National Health Policy 2017 with its vision to achieve the highest possible level of good health and well-being for all Indians. And the Ayushman Bharat scheme in 2018 with much needed focus on primary health and wellness centers and a health insurance scheme provide a robust framework for building a national capacity to deal with these numerous health challenges. The country may face further challenges tomorrow. To the personal initiative of the Prime Minister, we had an immensely successful Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, through which more than 10 crore toilets were built for the poor, saving millions of children from diarrhea deaths and bringing dignity and safety to our sisters and mothers. Poshan Abhiyan focused on nutrition and yoga as a tool for all-round well-being are part of the country's comprehensive healthcare strategy. Friends, education sector is the next important sector that determines the quality of our human resources and can be a powerful catalyst to make our progress sustainable, inclusive, and harmonious. The recent National Education Policy is truly a visionary document that can fulfill this promise and make Education India a holistic, value-based, and happy learning experience. Even on the higher education front, with improving research and better quality assessment of institutions, India is poised to play a critical role on the global stage. One of the important components of the National Education Policy that is close to my heart is the emphasis on mother tongue as the medium of instruction at primary and secondary levels. The recent initiative of the government to offer, and also ICT, professional courses too in mother tongue is a welcome move. My dear friends, there are many schemes, programs and policies that the Modi government have initiated. I have mentioned two sectors related to human development only as an illustration. Amitabh Kanji, he has made a digital presentation before you, without applying digital media. He has such a great remembrance power because he is also behind the formulation of many of these schemes. There are many more. These have been analyzed in this volume very comprehensively, competently by some of the best minds in the country and bringing to bear their vast years of experience. These contributions are made not because of their academic or because of their intelligent thinking or their background. It is the field experience. That's why I call them as the best minds, some of the best minds in our country, with vast experience. When the Planning Commission was transformed into the National Institute of Transforming India, the direction was clearly set: reform, perform and transform. These are the three words which were very dear to my heart. The Prime Minister has taken it and he gave a new national mantra, setting tone for a new look at governance. That is the biggest contribution made by Sri Narendra Bhai Modi. What we need is that transformative vision and reformist zeal to pervade every policy decision we take and every program we formulate. In a democratic federal polity like ours, progress is possible only through a dialogue between union and state government. This is very much required. I suggest to both the center and state governments to always be in the dialogue mode, interact with each other, cooperate and operate in the larger interest of the country. Because the country, we have a three-tier system. We have union government here, we have state governments at the provincial level, and we have local bodies, both urban as well as rural. Unless all these systems, all these tiers of governance, they all come together, implementation of these programs or these reforms or these initiatives are not that much easy. The concept of Team India, underscored by the Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Bhai Modi, so often is the only way out. I underline the only way out. Second, we must ensure that the benefits of development policies and programs reach everyone, especially the most vulnerable and marginalized. Formulation is fine, articulation is fine, legislation is fine, but the most crucial part, critical part is delivery. We have to focus people working in the field. There are a lot of serving officers and retired officers, civil servants. I would like to emphasize on one thing. At the end of the day, the political leadership formulates schemes, and you officers at the central level can also fine-tune. But the implementation part, delivery is the D. That is very much important. Then only these reforms will have a meaning. That's why reform, perform and transform. Without performing, transformation is not possible. Transformation for the betterment of the nation. That is the mandate given to the Niti Aayog. So people working in the field at every level, including people's representatives, they must focus on important aspect is delivery, last mile delivery. Second, we must ensure the benefits reach each and every one, especially the vulnerable and marginalized. For that, you have to avoid the delay. You have to abolish the middlemen. You have to see that the benefits reach people directly, without deviation, without dilution. That is very important. The middlemen, they try to exploit any system. Some of them have been exploiting also all these years. Now the time has come to see that these programs which are part of the transformation of direct benefit transfer, opening bank accounts, and reaching these schemes through bank accounts. I remember I was minister at the time when Prime Minister suggested that we must open bank accounts. I happily told, being one of the seniors, yes, we'll complete it during our tenure. He said, during our tenure? I said, yes. He said, no. I said, a thing which could not be achieved in 58 years. If we are going to achieve in 4 years, you must be happy. He said, no. It should be done forthwith at the earliest. Some of us thought it's an ambitious program. It is not that much easy. because of the drive and the leadership provided by the Prime Minister. Number of bank accounts opened, and then people in the country, there is no dearth of skeptical people. They said, bank account is open, kiya paisa bhi aaya. And then it started reaching the people. The DBT is one of the most refining movement of the reforms, because reaching to the people without dilution, without deviation, or without deduction or reduction. That is important. Otherwise, one has to wait, go around the offices, stand in the queue, go and meet the person, shake hand, and do something in between hand. This has been the practice, let us be frank. How? In some of these schemes, they are directly reaching the people. So the way out is to see that the benefits reach people, particularly marginalized and vulnerable. The Aspirational District Program is a good initiative that seeks to accelerate development in areas which have fallen behind. Friends, I am glad that a number of programs have been launched to leave no one behind and improve the ease of living. Jana Dhana Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Saubhagya Yojana, Ujjwala Yojana have greatly improved their access to other amenities like housing, electricity, fuel. I appreciate the government for setting an ambitious target of tapped water connection to nearly 20 crore households by 2024. Going forward, we must not only focus on improving access, but also improving quality and timely delivery of these services. This will come from reviewing our models and replicating good practices from our best performing districts. Along with good education, we must equip our young minds with the right skill set and provide the right inputs for them to fully flourish, improving infrastructure, creating a conducive business environment through technology adoption and among other initiatives. Take the case of agriculture. For instance, even though our farmers toil today, day and night to feed the country, they have only had subsistence incomes over the years. But with the right inputs through programs like Soil Health Card, market opportunities like ENAM, irrigation projects through Krishi Sinchai Yojana, and better value addition to crops through food processing, our farmers have been working miracles through record food grain production over the years. See in this COVID, the two sectors. Of course, pharmaceutical is a business industry. It is in demand, so naturally that sector has contributed to the economy of the country. But agriculture, in spite of this massive problem created, the agriculture production has gone up by 6.3%. Hats off to the farming community of the country. If you provide them the needed support, timely credit, irrigation facility, quality power. I am not for this free power. Free power means first low power, then no power. No power is free power only. This is my conviction. People want timely, adequate, affordable power. This we must ensure to the farmers, then they will do more wonders. The crop insurance scheme has to be improved further. What are the bottlenecks? What are the drawbacks? Why the scheme has not yet fully caught up? This has to be analyzed, and the loopholes has to be rectified. And we must accelerate this is because that is also an important aspect of helping the farmer coming to his rescue as and when he is hit by natural calamities. Likewise, we have to complement government skilling programs like Kaushal Vikas Yojana and make our youth competent and conversant in the latest technologies to improve their employability. The government has created a dedicated skill development ministry to give impetus to skill development in the country. I always believed, and I say it openly, there is an inherent knowledge in our country among our youngsters. What is required is skill upgradation. Skill upgradation, and with a huge population. It's not possible for any government to provide employment to each and every person. But if you can really give them the skills, they'll be able to stand on their own. This is another important aspect on which the government and the Prime Minister is focusing, but further focus is required at all levels. I'm happy that industry leaders through CSR funds and non-government organizations are also contributing to these efforts. They must step up their efforts. Every industry must have a skill development center. It should be made mandate. And it will be very useful. It's not a simply obligatory. It will be very useful for the industry itself. I'm also glad that the government has been improving the ease of doing business over the years. Moving towards, the government has no business to be in business. Doing business, burning your hands, and then coming and saying, sir, we have burned our fingers, then tax people and give us support. They must be made accountable. For that you need to provide ease of doing business. Business creates wealth. There is another weakness in our system from the beginning, somehow, slowly it's going. Business means something untouchable during daytime. Of course, evening time, you can again meet and greet them. What is this? They are also wealth creators. It is the duty of the government and the country and the people to see that the obstacles of doing business, honest business of course, and honest businessmen must be able to really come forward by removing these bottlenecks. Startups, encouraging Indian firms through flagship programs like Atmanirbhar Bharat. A thriving economy will generate great wealth for our country and create enormous job opportunities for our youth. Friends, before I conclude, I say we have come a long way from the dreams of our founding fathers for our nation. Successive governments have been making enormous efforts to realize these dreams. But what is required and what the present government has done is to accelerate the pace of reform and transform the way India is governed and the country moves ahead on the developmental journey with greater confidence and competence. Accelerating India, that should be top on the agenda. I am sure this book will serve as an excellent objective documentation of the progress made during the last 7 years under the dynamic, forward-looking leadership of Prime Minister. It will serve as a guide for our policy makers to reflect on what more needs to be done and identify key elements of the unfinished agenda. My compliments to all funds, the authors, the publishers, once again, for bringing this book. And before I conclude, I would like to say the purpose of reform is to transform the lives of the people. Not only to make them comfortable, to make them happy. Happiness, that index, happiness index. Are the people happy with the system, with the scheme, with the government? No tension because there is needed attention. by the concern, everybody doing their duty. Doing their duty, that's all. Nothing else is required. You need not sacrifice your lives and all nowadays. If everybody does their duty, the progress can be accelerated and we can make people happy. Happy. It should start from higher level to lower level, lower level to higher level. The other day, the Supreme Court Chief Justice said that the unhappiness starts from the police station. Police system must be a friend of the people in need. That's transformation we have to bring in. It's a state subject. That's it. Subject is subject now. Point is that our aim should be to make people happy. Because a happy nation can become a wealthy nation. There is no guarantee that a wealthy nation can be a healthy nation. So for that, we should really work hard and analyze so far the performance and the promises made. And a bold and dynamic leadership at all levels is required to accelerate reforms. Just now you heard about Triple Talaq, a country which is independent, which is supposed to be a very civilized nation, could tolerate and live with that for this many number of years. Torture, discrimination against women of a particular community because of some dogmatic this thing and all. The reason being, I can tell you, the people who are in minority, not religion, number-wise, they are violent in public discourse. The people, majority, they are silent. They don't come forward. They don't speak out. They don't stand. Whenever you speak for reforms, you will be singled out. Here is the case of Arif Muhammad Khan, we know, the Shah Banu case, subsequently what happened and all. It will be right there. Vested interest will always protest. They try to protect the present system. Not only about this Triple Talaq, taxation reforms, administrative reforms, any reform, it will really hurt some people, but help large section of the people and give them right opportunities that the Constitution speaks of. Friends, I read this book and appeal to the people to go through it because it's an analytical study that will be very useful to make our own assessment. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Jai Hind.